Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Know, Like, Trust, the Meetup. Yeah, you'll know me from Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. But I know that we are living in times when people are doing some fabulous work, and it's time for us to know, like, trust them. Let's all work together to come out of this Rona time and
Hmm.
really make some solid decisions about our next for ourselves, our kids. Let's make some connections. And that's what Know, Like, and Trust the Meetup is all about. All right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am excited. Jacquene Curlee is with us today, and she is all things drone. She teaches our kids how to build, code, fly, and train drones. Come on, let's do this fascinating stuff. Doesn't matter what side of the tracks you come from. We need to learn about this thing of drones. So, JC, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and talk to everyone about drones and drone technology and where we're going with that and how it's important that everybody learn that drones are going to be in society for forever and how they can actually in a lot of the things that they do in their business and their daily lives, how to incorporate drones in that as well.
Let's get started. Sounds
All
good.
right.
First of all, how is it that J.C. Curley would get involved in drones? What took you into this field?
So very quickly, the short version is my son, Brandon. When he was in high school, what I did was with all my kids is they take over the budget in the house, and they are able to make financial decisions with my guidance. And we actually turned off the TV, so I haven't had TV since 2010. And once we did that, I started looking at, I wanted to hear something, right? I wanted to hear just something in the background, so I started going online and hooked up the projector, was looking at YouTube, and I came across these um, TED Talks, and they were talking about drones, and I was like, what? And the first one I saw, the guy was kind of flying this drone, and it looked interesting, and I just kind of went on about my life. Second time I saw a TED Talk, the guy was flying 6 drones, and I'm like, huh? Thought it was interesting, but still didn't do anything. It's when I saw the drones building a house, I went, wait a minute, 1 drone, 6 drones building a house. Something's going on with these drones. I stopped in my tracks, really paid attention to what they were talking about on TED Tech Talks. And from there, I started doing a lot of research on about what drones were and what was going to be the future of drones. And I made up my mind 5 years ago that I wanted to be in drones. And just so happened 5 years ago, Governor Nathan Deal actually brokered the first drone convention here in Atlanta at the World Congress Center.
Wow.
They didn't even call it a drone convention. They called it AUVSI, which is the organization that does drones, land, air, and sea. And I paid my $699. That's when I crossed over and said, I think I want to do something about this. Went in there learning everything I could about drones. And that summer, I took to my car. The position that I had working at the time allowed me to work remotely. And I went out west to 3 drone schools that year.
Wow. Wow. Now that's invested.
Yes,
That's investing. Jumping
yes.
headlong in.
Yes, I did. The very
Wow.
first drone I bought when I was at one of the schools in Denver was a $6,500 drone called the DJI Inspire 1. And I couldn't believe that I was spending that kind of money in drones that I had just really started learning about like 6 months ago. And I'm like, are you crazy? What are you doing? And my family was like, are you dying? Are you transitioning? Like, what's going on with you? And I said, I've done my due diligence, and I'm telling you guys, drones has a solid future, not just in this country, but worldwide. And once I recognized that, I said to myself, I want to be in the industry. Didn't know what I wanted to do at the time, but I knew I had to start with training and understand how to use the equipment and how drones are being used in society. And I wanted to get professional instruction to do that because watching a bunch of YouTube videos, I thought, when I need actual help, who am I going to go to? So that allowed me to get a lot of in-depth information and hands-on training and how to fly this expensive piece of equipment. And then once I came back to Atlanta, I said to myself, okay, now what are you going to do with this? Like, I thought about, I want to do it, but like, what do I want to do? And I actually sat down as I taught my kids and I wrote out a pros and cons list. and I decided I might want to do something with kids. Didn't know that, never done it. Nobody else had done it. And so I actually approached the Maker Faire, the Atlanta Maker Faire, and said to them, this is my proposal. I want to set up a drone technology pavilion. I've never done this before. I wrote it out to them, and I was going to have a technology pavilion, a regulation pavilion, a static display, because by this time I met a lot of people with drones that could bring their drones, that could talk. I had someone come out that I called the drone doctor to talk about the technology. And I built 2 giant fly cages for drones to fly in the cage. And the whole premise was that when students came, because I was all about the kids, I wanted the kids to come through the pavilion. And then at the end, the candy was they got to actually fly the drones. So the students stayed outside of the cage and the drones were inside of the cage. Little did I know what I was doing. And at the end of the event, which was a 2-day event, they had almost 40-something thousand people there. They came up to me and said, you won the blue ribbon for the entire event. And I went, there's a competition? Like, I had no idea. They're like, all people talked about was you and these drones. And people would stand in line 55 minutes just so their student could go through and actually experience this. And it was during that time frame that parents kept saying, are you going to be in the schools? Are you going to do birthday parties? So I started writing down all these suggestions that the parents were coming up with. And I said, you know what, I think you actually have something here, and followed their suggestions, and then started actually approaching schools. And first I developed a program of how to do it in the schools and after school programs. And I approached the schools and they were like, absolutely, absolutely. So I had to go through a little bit more training about how to build the drones, and I did that. And ever since then, for the last 5 years, I've been teaching scholars as young as 3rd grade, because I started out with middle high school. And then the elementary teacher said, why don't you come to the elementary school? I'm like, I don't know. They might not be able to stand the technical terms and things like that. When I got over there, those 3rd graders, we had what we call Drone Day, where I brought them out to the Cobb County RC field. And we had this competition like a Jeopardy. Those 3rd graders blew those high schoolers away. Blew them away. They were like, we can't answer any questions because they keep hitting the buzzer. And I'm like, that's because they know their stuff. So we underestimate our kids, I think, a lot of times in their intelligent level. And I was guilty of that, thinking that if someone's, in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, they wouldn't be able to understand. But those kids, when I tell you, I walked into that classroom going, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't, made the right decision. And then one of the young men comes up to me, he's like, do you want to see me? I can figure out this Rubik Cube in 32 seconds. And I'm like, I don't believe you. So I took my camera out. 28 seconds, he had figured out and I'm like, okay, I'm with these smart kids. They might know more than I know. So it was just an eye opener for me that young people can be so smart and intelligent and grasp these concepts. And from there, I just started not just doing the schools, but I do a lot of community service work where I go out to a lot of festivals. I've done the Atlanta Science Festival. I did the Delta Block Party. Me and my drones at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport outside doing drones for over 50,000 attendees. And the thing that really tickles me the most is the adults keep saying, excuse me, why aren't you doing this for the adults? They're like, we're big kids and we want to do it too. So we were actually in the process of actually scheduling a class for adults to build drones this summer when all of this transpired. And so we're not going to be able to do that, I don't think. And then additionally, this was going to be our first year having a residential drone aviation camp. We partnered with West Georgia to host a overnight camp for kids. And it was going to be holistic, where not only they would learn to build, code, and fly drones, but we'd also schedule them to get into planes and do flying lessons as well. And that's very dear to me. It's very dear to me to do things like that, because my son started flying planes at 13. He got his private pilot license at 17, graduated, went off to the Air Force Academy, graduated from there, and now he is a pilot in the Air Force.
Yes. Mm.
And so aviation is just, it's in my blood since my son started getting into it years ago. And people laugh at us because our entire family is aviation oriented. So my daughter is an aviation architect
Oh, wow.
and she has built airports all around the country.
Ja-
So I
You,
love aviation.
you are phenomenal. I'm looking at you and I'm just tracing every step here.
Hmm.
It started out as a thought. It
Yes,
started out as a passion. Something caught your inner ear.
yes,
You heard it and you heard it. And then you heard it again. And
yes,
then you made a move on it. JC, do you think that this is where many of us are in history? We are
mhm,
hearing things and we have to find the grit to make a move and invest and do it. You look at what you've accomplished in
yes,
5 years because
yes.
you heard it, and you invested. You've been all in.
And let me tell you what you said is so important when you said grit. I do believe that once I've said to myself, you have to recognize that this technology is going to continue to advance. Are you just going to continue to watch, YouTube videos? Or I heard Steve Harvey say years ago, he said, at some point, you're going to have to take that walk off the cliff, right? So, you know what? I went over to the Georgia World Congress Center, spent my $699. That was me walking off the cliff because I'm like, why are you going to spend $700 and you're not going to do anything with this? You've got to learn from the people that are already doing it and what's available out there. And so I took that leap of faith, so to speak. And sometimes people don't want to take that leap of faith because it is scary, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you're doing something like this and there's no, dummies for drones books, or you know what I'm saying? There is no roadmap to success. And you are basically the trailblazer that's navigating those waters and creating those roadmaps, right? And so more people have come behind me, and it's branched out to us having training programs where we train schools and other organizations how to implement a drone program at their location, because I can't be at all the schools. I can't be at all the organizations. We can't do that. So the best way to do that is to spread the wealth by educating others and having them incorporate these drone programs where they are, and then we continue to remain a resource for them.
Wow. This is huge. I hope that people are taking note. You are obviously a Black woman
Yes.
in an industry that I would venture to say we don't really have a lot of space and territory there.
Yeah.
Will you address that, and how are you reacting and correcting that, starting with our kids?
So what I try to do is I try to make sure that I'm going to organizations and neighborhoods so that our children can have this exposure, because that's where it starts, right? I got the exposure from YouTube, but then some young person will see me at the science festival. They will see me at the Delta Block Party. They will see me at the Atlanta Maker Faire, or the 100 Black women had an event, and I went there to Brown Middle School, and for 40 something girls, I facilitated a drone program for the entire day. What that does is they start opening their eyes and go, wait a minute, what are the old saying is, you don't know what you don't know? So now these young ladies are going, you can do what with drones? You can do this with drones? And then at the end, as I always tell everyone, the eye candy is allowing the students to fly, getting them with their hands on the stick and going, wait a minute, this isn't as easy as it looked. When Miss JC was flying the drone, it flew down there, went around the gate and came back. But mine keeps going up and down and crashing because it's a skill set. It's a skill set that you do have to develop, right? And that's one of my ways of doing it. Another way that I've done it is I've been in the industry for now 5 years. So I also now am guest speakers at drone conventions around the country. And why do I think that's important? Because when I go to these drone conventions, there can be 10,000 people there, 5,000 people there, and there are less than 100 of us there. But when they see me get on the stage, and they're like, whoa, how did she get on that stage? because I am looked at as an expert with kids and drones. And as I said, we've been doing this for 5 years. And I recognize going into the fourth year that some of my students are getting ready to now graduate high school. And I thought, great, they know how to build, code, and fly drones. And then what are they going to do with it after that? And then it started bothering me. Yes, they know how to do this, but what can they do with this after they leave high school? And I'm a licensed FAA drone pilot. And I thought, to be a licensed FAA drone pilot, guess what the age is? 16.
Wow.
16. You don't already have to have your driver's license. You don't have to have any other credentials or criteria. You have to be 16 and be able to understand and speak and learn and read English. That is the criteria for taking the test. And I'm like, 16? I have students that are 16. How come I'm not teaching them so they can go get their drone pilot license? So a year ago, I implemented the training aspect of students that are at least 15 that can come and take our drone pilot license prep course to get them ready to take the aviation test, because it is an aviation test. I have been taking my flying lessons to get my private pilot license, which hopefully my son won't hear this, but because I want to surprise him and take him flying one day. And I thought, what if these kids got their license, and then while they're in college, I can help them find companies that would hire them so they don't have to go work at McDonald's and make $20 an hour instead of $7 an hour, right?
Yes.
So we've been on this. Last year, we had 6 of our students to get their drone pilot license. And for those who wanted to continue to pursue, 4 of them, we helped them get drone jobs with already established drone companies that would hire them. And you know why? Because they already knew how to fly and they already had their license.
They were
And that's what
prepared.
they're looking for. And I learned that from going to different meetings. Like, I'm also a part of the Georgia UAS working group, and we meet quarterly. And Airbus, which is the subsidiary from Aerial Bus, is the subsidiary of Airbus, the airline company. And the president of Aerial Bus was there, and I went to him. I said, what are you looking for when you are hiring someone? He said, we want them to know how to fly. He says, that's very difficult. They have to have their FAA drone pilot license, and we would like them to know about coding. Those were his 3 criteria when he was looking for someone to come on board. And I went, wait a minute, the kids know how to code. I'm training them to be drone pilot licensed, and they know how to fly because they have to pass a very serious flying test in order for me to endorse them to go out and get employment. And I'm like, my kids are meeting all of these criteria. They are set. I just need to continue building the relationships for them to be able to pursue to get these positions. So what my advice to parents and adults, so we actually started training adults to get their drone pilot license. I just finished a class 2 weeks ago, and guess who I partnered with?
Who?
North Clayton Middle School, the principal over there,
Wow.
Dr. Rice.
All
She
right.
was like, wait a minute. And she invited all these parents to come in, and I did a presentation to them about what drones are, what's going on with drone technology, the future of drones, and how you can get your drone pilot license. And 10 people signed up for the class.
I know they
And
did.
we facilitated the class because of this pandemic, all online. And their minds were like, what? And I said to them, you only got one piece of the puzzle, right? They haven't been able to take their test yet because of this situation. But once you've taken your test, you still have to know how to fly. So I have classes where we teach students how to fly. And I said to them, I won't endorse you unless you can show me that you can actually fly, because I can't tell you to go over to this person and they're going to test you on how to fly and you cannot pass their test. So we are making our rounds and ways into the adult arena in terms of helping more people get their drone pilot license. Because think about it. I want you to think about if you own a car lot and you have a car lot, you're a salesman and you own this car company. One of the best ways that you can inventory your cars after a terrible storm is you take this drone up and you can fly the drone and inventory your cars. But because you have a business and you're doing it because you're making money, you have to have a drone pilot license because it's connected with a commercial operation. So that's what I'm trying to tell people, that even if you don't want to go independently and be a pilot, you can take this tool and place it on top of a company that you already have. If you're a realtor and
Oh,
someone
yes.
hires you to sell their home, you don't need to go hire a drone pilot. You can actually come to our course. We'll help you prep and also train you to do flying. And guess what? Now you have another tool in your toolkit, and you can say to your client, not only can I help you sell your home, but I can help you market your home from an aerial perspective, and also
Yes.
take that drone and actually walk it through the house because it has the camera on it, and you can do interior and exterior. I
Wow.
had another young man that owns a trash company, and he was like, well, what would I do? I'm like, well, you could use it to inspect your trucks to see if there's any damage on your trucks, inspect your property to see if anybody has come onto your property legally, and from a security standpoint, and do inspections of your building and your roof,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So as I've been out talking to people in the community and they're learning all the different things you can use drones for, if you just want to be an independent pilot, or if you want to add this to your toolkit for your business, it's actually doing what? Placing your business above someone else's that cannot offer those services, right? So in this, during this this crisis that we're in, and a lot of students are sheltering in place, I started talking to my students and I said, what if we did what we did online for students? And I said, what would you guys think about that? They're like, yeah, but we don't know. I said, well, you know what? I would like to talk to you guys about you guys being the instructors. They know the material. They know
Mhm.
how to build drones. They know what a motor does, and if it goes clockwise, counterclockwise, and why that's important, and showing the students if you put a propeller on backwards, what's going to happen, and talking about the ESCs and the polarity. Those kids already know this. And I thought, you guys already know this. What if we start training you about presenting? Because the knowledge is there, but how do we get that knowledge out so that you can present it in a coherent manner that other students will understand and receive the message? So we've been working on that for 4 weeks. And
Wow.
currently on our site, on Kids Drone Zone, if you go to our kidsdronezone.org site, right there in the menu, it says Drone Aviation Course. We have one, and you click on it, we have one course for high school students, one course for middle school students. It's 6 weeks long. And we decided we wanted to offer the courses for free.
Wow.
And
You
the
know what,
students will
Jason?
attend online.
I am just blown away at how progressive this whole platform is,
Yes.
and how you are taking our kids into the
Hmm.
future. And then the
Yes.
parents are coming along also. This is
Yes.
amazing. This work that you're
Yes.
doing, I've never met anyone who's in this industry. I've seen the drones before. So first of all, thank you for listening to your gut, letting your ear guide you, and following through. Um,
Yes.
how once again, tell people how they can get in contact with you, because I'm sure
Absolutely.
people are going to have many more questions.
Absolutely. So all you do is go to kids, KIDS, drone zone.org. That is kidsdronezone.org. And I'm a firm believer of this. On our front page, our phone number and email is right there at the top. And if you want to enroll your middle school student or a high school student into the online program that starts next Saturday, you just click on the drone aviation course, and it tells you all about it. And then you click register, and it takes you to the registration page right there online.
Wow. Fight fast, to the point. Let's get it done, and let's get our
Yes,
kids involved. I just have
absolutely.
one other question, because
Sure.
I'm myself. I see my grandson a part of this. He's 6 years
Yes.
old. He's always
Uh-huh.
talking about he's going to be a pilot, and I know that he will be a
Oh,
pilot one day.
yes.
So, are you thinking about maybe doing something on YouTube just for the little shavers, to spark some interest in them, so that we can keep feeding that?
I am so glad you asked me that. We are actually taking it to a whole nother level, where we're going to be presenting a platform by the end of May, where we're going to be our students, right? We're going to be promoting what we call parent radio. And our students are going to start interviewing young people from around the world. I've already built the relationships with South Africa, Australia, and Canada. And our students are going to start interviewing these trailblazing students around the world who are doing all of these cool things in aviation, or whether they're doing as an artist or they're building robots or whatever that is. And we're going to be inviting the public to join us so that they can start learning from other students and being incentivized and innovated by these young people. Like this one young lady I met, I was talking to her parents. She got bored and she decided she wanted to start dancing on the roof in New York and start making all these cool videos. And I told the kids, you guys got to interview her. We want more kids seeing people like her so that she can do what? Inspire other youth. So that is going to be the whole premise of our show. Is our students are going to interview these young people who are trailblazers all around the world. For people like your grandson can come on and go, what? That is so cool. But more importantly, inspire your grandson and his mind start thinking, oh, maybe I could do, because that is really the key, right? Having other young people seeing other young people, and they're bringing inspiration to them so that their minds can start twirling and their ideas can start flowing and come out and do what? Bring it to real life. So I'm so glad I forgot all about that. We're working on that. And the kids are so nervous. And we did a live practice session with like 40 people on the call that they've never seen before. And I had them give me feedback, and I presented to the kids. And the kids were like, oh my God, I did terrible. I'm so nervous. And I said, this was your first time in front of a live audience. We're practicing. We've got another live audience coming on Monday night for the kids so they can get ready to teach next Saturday, but also to get ready when they start doing their live interviews. So we're already working on interviewing one of my students, smart, Jackson. We're working on interviewing a gasoline chemist from NASA.
Oh my goodness.
So that kids can learn about what it means to work for NASA in that capacity. That's what he wanted to do. And I have another young lady, she's 10. She wants to interview a person who does graphic artists for anime. So one of my friends says, hey, I got a guy who runs the anime convention. Let me get in touch with him. So the kids tell me, I want to interview this person. And then I have to go out and find these people, right? But it's been a great journey. I love my kids. I miss them so much. We're not able to build physically, but from a technical, logical standpoint, I think what we're doing is building a whole different type of community around the world to help inspire kids to learn, think, and go out and do wherever they are. Absolutely.
Let's end it right there.
Yes.
What a way to end. Not just think about it, but do it, which is what
Yes.
JC, that's what, when they look at you, that's what they'll always see, is that you didn't just
Absolutely.
think about it. You did it. That's the
Yes, I
bottom
did.
line. Gosh. Kids Drone Zone, thank you for your time. Thank you for investing and sowing into our kids. And gosh, just thank you. I so appreciate you. I'm
Thank you
excited.
so
I'm going to
much.
keep us posted, because I'm definitely going to make sure
Absolutely.
that my grandson is just sitting there. His mind is just going to be mesmerized. His
Oh,
eyes are
yes.
going to be
Oh, yes.
huge.
Yes. And we'll definitely keep in touch. We're hoping to have a drone event free for the public to come out sometime this summer, if everything dies down. But that's something that we're hoping to do in the Atlanta metro area as well.
All right. Well, we
All right.
are going to come out of this one day,
Okay.
and you are already established, and you are trailblazing, and you are moving. So I know that once we're on the other side of this piece of history, we're going
Yes.
to see JC Curlee and her kids doing some amazing things. So, wow.
Absolutely.
We're going to wrap this up.
Thank you.
Another great episode of Know, Like, and Trust, the meetup. Go over to the YouTube channel, Know, Like, Trust Meetup. I'll have it posted here next week. And
Yeah.
I am so enthusiastic about this conversation until Sunday, tomorrow, Sunday. I am going to do a watch party with JC Curlee. I'm going to bring this conversation up, a watch party. Her business, her voice. We're going to launch it from there. And you know, she said so much. I'm sure that you're going to pick up some more golden nuggets that are going to help you
Oh yeah.
be inspired. So thank
Thank
you,
you. Thank
JC.
you so much. I
Oh,
enjoyed it. It
I'm
was
glad. I'm
awesome.
glad. All right.
All
Take
right.
care, everybody. Till
Okay.
next
Bye-bye.
time. Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.